We're on scene at Malloy's headquarters where votes are still coming in.
A Superior Court judge voted to extend the poll hours until 8:30 tonight.
And we'll be here well into the night waiting on your 2014 decision.
I'm Kristen McLaughlin.
And I'm Jessica Jenkins. We'll have that story coming up next.
Hello, and welcome to this election edition of CCSU News. I'm Brandon Kalute.
And I'm Micaiah Jones. We have special team coverage for you on the very close race for governor here in the state.
We also have reporters Rosa Lozano and Preet Gulati covering Senator Tom Foley in Greenwich, where Foley headquarters is still counting votes. We will have more from Foley coming up. And later, we have coverage on the absence of Senator Foley in the final debate, reactions from the CCSU Republicans meeting, and also those political ads. Did they really work?
But first, let's get back to Kristen, who has the latest on this morning issues with the polls in the Hartford area.
Earlier this morning, people were turned away and experienced delays at Hartford polling locations. A crucial problem, Malloy said in an earlier press conference, with Hartford being a community where he gets 90% of his votes. 2 locations will remain open until 8:30 tonight. It's a little too early to determine if this will affect the outcome. However, people are encouraged to get out and vote before the polls close. Daniel Malloy's campaign filed a complaint in Hartford Superior Court asking for voting hours to be extended. Catherine Bleener is a Malloy supporter who actually voted at one of the 2 polling locations that were challenged.
There were probably 50 people who weren't able to vote. I think some of them came back. It was really extreme incompetence on the part of the registrars in Hartford.
In spite of everything, Senator Murphy saw positivity from voters earlier this morning.
I saw the passion that people were bringing to the polls today. I saw the hours and hours.
Senator Blumenthal says that he hopes the problems won't make a difference, but that each person can.
Every single person can make a difference. That's the lesson of this democratic process. The closer the race, the more you can be sure that you made a difference.
Blumenthal says that he hopes this situation doesn't affect the outcome and wants to make sure this never happens again.
We need to make sure that elections are conducted in the way that all of us in this country, and certainly all of us in Connecticut, expect them to be. Anybody who comes to the polls ought to have the opportunity to vote then and there.
We expect it to be a tight race, but despite the voting issues, Murphy remains positive about the outcome.
You've done everything that you could. You have laid it all on the line. If we pull this thing out tonight, as I know we will, it will be thanks to the great hard work of all of the Democrats in this room. All of those that are still out in the field offices will bring home a big victory tonight. Thank you very much, everybody.
Here's my question to all of you. Are you fired up? Yeah! Are you excited?
Well, it looks like Malloy supporters don't think that the polling time is going to have that much of an effect on the outcome tonight. I'm Kristen McLaughlin in Hartford, CCSU News.
Thanks, Kristen. Well, the race for governor took nearly 24 hours to call. Our very own Jessica Jenkins was on scene and brings us a closer look at how it all went down.
I'm on scene at Governor Malloy's headquarters, and the polls have officially closed. It was a close race, but we now have a clear and concise winner. Governor Dan Malloy has been re-elected in a hard-fought race against Republican challenger Tom Foley. It was tense throughout the night as each candidate took turns, pulling ahead by a narrow lead.
I don't want to think like that. I'm thinking very positive tonight.
The suspenseful wait was due to a lot of the major cities such as Hartford, New Haven, and West Haven that were still counting votes.
There's more counting to do tonight, but I really believe that the votes today were votes of aspiration.
It wasn't until shortly after midnight that Governor Malloy declared victory.
We will have won this race because we invested in education. We will have won this race because we didn't lay off a fireman or a firefighter or a policeman or a teacher.
For Malloy supporters, this win means a lot for the state of Connecticut.
It means everything. It means that our pension is secure, our health benefit is secure because I'm a retiree.
I think we're moving Connecticut in the right direction, that the policies of the governor over the last 4 years have been vetted, reviewed by the people, and they're in favor. We need to continue the progress.
4 years ago, the 2010 race between the 2 candidates was the closest in nearly 50 years. And tonight, it looks like history may repeat itself. Now, it was a tight race. It was neck and neck for a while, but Governor Malloy gets to keep his seat in office, and Connecticut gets to remain a Democratic state. In Hartford, I'm Jessica Jenkins, CCSU News.
Thanks, Jess. Now let's take you back across the state to Greenwich. Rosa and Preet caught up with supporters as the results were coming in. On-scene reporter Amy Arriaga is also at Foley headquarters.
Thanks, guys. We're here at Tom Foley's headquarters in anticipation of who might be winning tonight's head-to-head race. I'm Rosa Lozano.
And I'm Preet Galati. Coming up are reactions from the crowd as results come in.
It's been going pretty well. There's a lot of energy in the room. So I think at this point, I think Foley's gonna pull it off.
I think it's very upbeat and everybody's waiting for good news.
He's done a great job. He's exactly what we need.
As the polls are coming to an end, we knew this would be a close race. Malloy is at 50%, with Foley following behind 49%, and Visconti at 1% for tonight's polls.
And hopefully their ground game was good enough to turn out more votes than the other side.
Foley represents a lot of what Connecticut needs. They need a strong leader, somebody that's going to reduce taxes. And
done a very effective job of getting out the message that change needs to be made in Connecticut, because Connecticut was once a wonderful and very rich and prosperous state.
Former independent candidate Joe Visconti is not present at tonight's gathering after recently dropping out of the race in support of Foley, but his name is still on the ballot. Let's see how this will affect tonight's race.
I mean, it was a nice gesture, but I think it's one of those things, too little, too late.
He said to his supporters, he said, do not vote for me, vote for Tom Foley.
I think it may, the margin, have a small effect, but it really comes down to how many of the people who are going to vote for him.
We still haven't gotten any results so far, but the crowd is still waiting in hopes of finding out tonight's winner. We have Amy Arriaga with the details.
Thanks, guys. I'm here at headquarters, and it's past midnight, and we still haven't seen any results. With cities still not being accounted for, many supporters are headed home and waiting till morning to see the results.
At the wait, well, it's a little hard because I have to get up for work in the morning, and they say we might not hear the answer until 2:30 in the morning.
Many supporters wait in anticipation as results of other states are announced. The energy in the room is tense due to how close this race has become.
It's tiring. It's been a long process since February when Tom came out and said he was going to run and stuff, so it's tiring, but it's also exciting.
The long wait to the final decision may be taking a toll on some supporters, but many still stand strong and are optimistic.
I'm hoping for Tom Foley.
If he doesn't win, then I go back to my regular day job, and we go from there and try to get a Republican elected in the next 4 years.
I want to thank my outstanding campaign team who brought us so close to victory, and may have brought us to victory, we don't know. It looks to me as if our projections are accurate. We probably have not won this race, but we're not going to make that final decision until we've confirmed all the numbers. But thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Go ahead. Go on, get a good night's sleep. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, obviously very disappointed. Hopeful that perhaps when the final votes get in, it will reverse it. But it seems like, what we have here is a re-election of Dan Malloy.
Although the results weren't in, Foley and supporters could tell this wasn't looking like the win they anticipated. It was announced later that Malloy in fact won the election. This is Amy Arriaga reporting from CCSU News.
Thanks, guys. Republican Tom Foley dropped out of a recent debate against opponent Governor Daniel Malloy. So I guess the real question here is Tom Foley's overconfidence backfire in the polls?
Through our gubernatorial forum, if you're just joining us, Republican Tom Foley once again is not with us tonight. We had ongoing discussions with his campaign. He declined our invitation to participate in this forum.
For years, gubernatorial debates have been used to persuade the opinions of voters to win a spot in office. And after listening to the answers of their future leaders, voters have an opportunity to weigh the pros and cons of issues that they may not have considered before. I spoke to students around CCSU's campus on their views of Foley dropping out of a debate against opponent Malloy.
I don't think it shows good leadership qualities.
tough decisions that have to be made as governor, and if you can't be put on the spot in a debate against the person that's already currently governor, then I don't know if it shows that you have good leadership qualities going forward.
Makes him look scared.
Maybe also unprepared too at the same time.
Before the elections, students also expressed their views on whether or not debates impact the candidate's chance of winning the race.
And people are looking at the debate to see which side they'll choose, but if you don't show up, then how are people going to choose a side? So it definitely affects it 100%.
That was Micaiah Jones reporting. Well, CCSU students, did you remember to vote in this election? Our very own Candace Dodd caught up with some CCSU students who stressed the importance of voting.
Voting is a vital process that keeps our system of government working. Through elections, citizens have the ability to decide on who represents them.
Whatever I want to happen as a citizen, I have to vote people who will, make sure that that is done. So that's the reason why I vote. And I'm a citizen of U.S., so it's my right to vote as a citizen. So I make sure that every year, every 2 years, I have to exercise that right.
Exercising voting rights is important, but it is equally important for young voters to make a difference. According to civicyouth.org, young voters make up 21% of the voting population and are a major subset of the electorate. Here at CCSU, John Salin, president of the College Republican Club, voices his thoughts on the importance of a young voter.
If you don't like your representative or your congressman or your governor or even the president, you have just as much of an equal right as everyone else to go out and voice that opinion through voting.
Tim Simons, another member of the club, believes that voting is important since it could lead to saving funding for education.
Optimal to get people to invest in these schools, that'd be great. Public education as a whole, is lacking more in the city areas, I would say. So I mean, it's that's a whole topic in and of itself. That's a big deal.
CCSU students say with tight elections like this one, every vote matters. I'm Candace Dodd, reporting for CCSU TV News.
The race for governor in Connecticut has come to an end, which also means an end to those attack ads. Our very own Brandon Kalut has details on the effects of the ads leading up to the election.
Ad. Malloy's desperate.
After ad.
False attacks on Tom Foley.
After ad.
Connecticut.
I'm Tom Foley, and I approve this message.
Televisions in Connecticut were dominated by commercials from Tom Foley and Daniel Malloy. Both candidates were hoping to gain votes by attacking the other side. But do these ads serve their purpose when it comes time to hit the polls? Political science student Shannon King shares her thoughts on the ads.
For a campaign to run, you're running against someone, so you have to point out bad things about that candidate to push voters away from them and more towards you.
Shannon is not alone. The negativity of the ads has attracted the attention of many researchers around the state. The Wesleyan Media Project found that 43.8% of all the ads were negative. That's up from 23% from the 2012 election. They also found that the total cost of the ads hit well over $1 billion. Shannon says that although the ads informed her, they did not have a huge impact on her vote.
They haven't really affected my voting decision. I kind of like to tune them out, but I also like to watch them as a political science major, just kind of how are ads put together, what techniques did they use and things like that.
With 2014 behind us, Shannon says we can expect the amount of ads to continue to grow for the 2016 race. With CCSU News, I'm Brandon Kalut. That's going to do it for this election edition of CCSU News. I'm Brandon Kalut.
And I'm Micaiah Jones. Have a great day, Central.